We're live.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the host, Paul, and we are joined this week by the lovely Sonia and the amazing Jake. So, making the grand returns. Jake's first podcast where he's done 2 in a row in quite a long time, because, let's be honest, Jake is very choosy on which episodes he will allow us to have him on.
The elusive Jake, I like to call myself. I'm tired now. It's 2 weeks in a row. What?
Yeah, we'll have to stop in and we'll workman's comp or something in a bit. So we'll get the union on us. But yes. Sorry we are a little bit late this evening. I did try and entertain you with some Simpsons videos as well. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you. It was me. I was there. I've literally just drove back from York, opened the door, turned the computer on and sat down.
Good.
That's it.
That's where we roll.
As much as I've done.
That's how we roll in these places. So yes.
Not let you down.
So this week's episode was chosen by Jake again, I think, because he had the choice for last year. But funny enough, he only will come on episodes what he puts forward, I think. That's Jake's rules now.
Yep, we are that way.
That's how it works then.
And I think it is, say, the return of the Twitchers, shall we say, because we've got the two Twitch maestros, like the Nerdy Up North and Sunboz, the Twitch Queen as well. So yeah, Sam, do you want to ask your famous question that you're trying to get it away with now?
Well, it's working, so I don't know what you want about. Just how have you been? How's your week been? What you been watching?
A lot.
You can wait till last.
Sorry, boss.
Sonia, what you been watching this week? Anything entertaining?
You know, I'm actually really bad for watching TV. Like, I do watch stuff, but I binge watch stuff I've seen before. But this week, I've just started watching something I haven't seen before, which I'm annoyed I've left so long, which is Better Call Saul. And I'm really, really glad I've started watching it. The reason I put it off was because I feel like nothing can replace Breaking Bad. But actually... It's bloody brilliant, so I'm annoyed at myself. Yeah.
No, I think you've done it right, because I watched it like as it came out, and it was like really slow. So I feel like you can get like a good like chunk of watching in and be like satisfied. Yeah. Whereas I was kind of like, oh well, I'm not sure on this yet, and I'll check the next week out. But at a certain point, it does get its like Breaking Bad pace back once you kind of understand what it's gonna be. But yeah, it's fun.
I thought Better Call Saul was better than Breaking Bad. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll see it. It's just because I didn't like Skylar, and she spoiled Breaking Bad for me. So I just wanted to punch her in the face, and like I'm not normally an aggressive man.
Breaking Bad's a weird
person.
I mean, I've seen you play Sonic, Paul. So.
Well,
this is the trial of Paul.
The true self will come out one day. Nobody sees the nice stuff I do.
I've never actually watched Better Call Saul, and for the same exact reason you didn't watch it is because it will, in my eyes, like, it's not going to be Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
The final season is amazing, though. It's absolutely one of the, like, I know we've talked about like great endings to TV shows and stuff like that, but it is up there, and it's better because when you've seen the show like Breaking Bad, you kind of expect what's going to happen and stuff like that. So you know the journey Saul goes down, but to see it and like see the surprises that come away and the characters they give you, I just thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
You got something to look forward to there, then, Sonia.
Yeah, it's still got that like really good bad guys show up as well that you really don't want to see succeed. And yeah, like Jimmy and Kim's like relationship, which wasn't in Breaking Bad at all or even hinted at, is like one of the best parts, I would say.
Definitely. And I'm just getting annoyed at the chat as well, because the chat's giving us shits for saying I'm not aggressive.
Because it's people who know you.
Bad chat. Quit it.
I will ban you all.
He'll do it, folks.
I was going to say, I thought that was Jake's power. He has the ban hammer.
No, he's got the bonk hammer, but that's a different story.
So Jake, you been watching anything interesting?
I mean, I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show before, but I watch a lot of One Piece, which is an anime which has been going since the 90s. And that's been very good lately. That's like a new episode every Sunday type of thing, a little ritual with the coffee in the morning.
My husband is quite obsessed with One Piece. Has this got something to do with it?
Yes, that's Zoro.
Yeah, I've just bought him today for Anth because he's obsessed with One Piece. So you get to see it before he does.
Does that mean like, you bought yourself something, so you've had to buy Anthony something?
I only bought myself a comic, actually. I bought it. Oh, actually, that's a big fat lie. I bought myself a comic and a Funko. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those stupid, really long-running animes that's up to like episode 1060 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm up to date, like a madman.
Wow, that's impressive. He's made me watch one of the films before.
Yeah, I did see
movies. Sorry, I heard myself say films the other day on the podcast, and I was like, oh. Movies. Yeah, he's made me watch one before. I didn't get what was going on.
Big anime fight, shouting, a man made of rubber.
Sounds about right.
Other than that, no, I've been corrupted by Paul to watch things on the Discovery Network.
The Discovery Network is the new trash TV, I'm telling you.
I've been watching Naked and Afraid, that's been fun. I'm not really learning anything, but I'm seeing the side of human nature that would happen if we were trapped alone together in a forest or whatever.
The only thing I don't get about the show, I do like it. I'd like to say I was obsessed during lockdown watching this as well. Is why they have to be naked though, and they just blur out the bits, and you see like the butts walking around all the time. And
yes.
Like, it's like
if you're gonna show it, show it.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of seeing the butts. That's good. That's a plus. It's in a plus column. You're right though. Sometimes they make shoes, but other producers saying like, "Oh, you can't make pants though." Like, come on. Like sometimes they'll fashion shoe like sandals out of like leaves.
I know in the later episodes, like on the Naked and Afraid XL episodes, when a contestant taps out or leaves, like either medically taps out, but this is what's brilliant about these shows. People actually nearly die in real life. It's like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here, where they're put in the middle of Africa, or in like say the most harshest, like the Amazon rainforest, and they've got to live there for 30 days or 60 days depending on it. So if someone actually catches an infection, they get evac'd out, because some of them almost like collapse on malnutrition as well.
Jesus.
But it's horrific, and stuff like proper fall over. Like one bloke, I was laughing my head off because he was going on saying, "I'm the ultimate guy. I'm macho man," and stuff like that. Walked down a hill, slipped over and broke his knee. So he'd be on the first day.
There is an amazing
macho man.
There is an amazing amount of instant karma or like schadenfreude, whatever you want to call it, where you just see the absolute worst people get like, stung by wasps and that, and you're like, you deserve this.
But I think if they leave like equipment or the bags, because they all got like a bag, like a satchel to keep the stuff in, they sometimes fashion like bras and like pants out of like these bags. So it's always quite like say interesting when there's like a big group of them and seeing how long like the last type thing.
I would not last 2 seconds. I have no creativity in these fingers. Like I ain't making shit. Like I'm walking around naked constantly. Like there's nothing getting made out of these hands.
To be fair, that's just like a normal day for you. You're pantsless wonder.
You're lucky. I didn't get it. I was literally going to just rip my trousers off and sit down, and then I was like,
no, there's an episode for us.
I think we should do a nerdy survival thing though, and just see how long it takes.
I'm dead straight away.
Making tribes.
To be fair though, do you want to be camping out somewhere with Donna if Donna starts going nuts on us, she would start beating us all to death. She'd be the first one to eat us.
I'm an excellent team player. I'm an excellent team player, but you best believe that if anything goes wrong, I'm gonna be like the one smashing someone's head in with a rock to gain power over the
game.
We went there pretty quickly. We went there pretty quick there. Wow.
Like Donna's starting cannibalism straight away. Jake's like, do you know what I would do? Whoever was the most like powerful, like whoever had the most power at the time, I'm jumping on that boat.
This is how I get Sam on my side.
Absolutely. If you show like if you show any sign of like you are the strong, that's where I'm going.
So what we're saying
there.
here to navigate the strongest member, we're going to do a WWE style Royal Rumble. Last man standing wins and has power over the group.
And also, if I get bit by a zombie, I'm going to hide it until it's too late. I'm just saying that now.
Jay!
Wow.
I feel like I just don't know you at all. Like,
look, you've just got to be honest with yourself.
To be fair, I'd probably do the same until like the very last minute. It's like, I'm okay.
To be fair though, and Goodwill would probably be cowering in the corner just saying, "Please don't hit me. Please don't make anyone me my bitch."
To be fair to Goodwill, me and him, we played Phantasmaphobia together. Me and him went and hid like a couple of soft shits. So it would be me and him hiding somewhere.
Anyway. What about you, Sammy? What have you been watching?
Oh gosh. Oh, that's right. So Monday, I went to a convention on Sunday, did the podcast, stayed up stupidly late, and then went to work for 10 hours the next day. Thought, you know what, I'm gonna watch 2 episodes of Happy Valley, the last season, and I'm gonna call it a night and go and have an early night and be a sensible human being. I did not. I watched the whole entire 3rd season on Monday night. Didn't finish till about 1 o'clock. It was worth it. Well worth it. So I watched the last season of Happy Valley. It was great. And we've been, this is how bad we are when it comes to seasons. We watched Big Bang Theory on the back of the episode we did. And then we finished it. And then we got lonely and we started watching it again. And we're like halfway through. And last night I just went, I want to watch How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
And I've started watching How I Met Your Mother. So I'm on that train now.
All right.
But like the umpteenth billion time, like I'm watching it, all because I can't wait to get the Robin Sparkles episode.
So you went from top tier British drama to bottom of the barrel American sitcoms.
With an ending that jumped the shark, some would say.
Yes.
Ending that is questionable.
All in the span of a week. But what I also did is watch the first ever episode ever for me of Moonshiners with Paul. That was a fucking experience.
You fucking got engrossed.
I fucking loved it. I loved it. Excuse me. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. The episode itself was just like, you know, I got to see what he's been on about. It's when he showed us the drama. Like, everything changed. Sorry, I've got the sneezes. I've been sneezing most afternoons, so I do apologise.
It's not COVID, guys. Don't worry.
You can't catch it.
Well, we're not in the same room, so yeah.
It's my allergies. My apologies. So I watched the drama-filled part of Moonshiners, and I was completely and utterly invested. Like, I wanted to know more. So yeah, it was so much fun. That's my watch. Paul, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I'll start with some high-class BBC entertainment. Great British Menu started up again, and I forgot. So we binged watched that. I don't know if anyone's watched it. It's on like the 200th season or something like that. Where each region, but like say for the northeast, have included Yorkshire in there for some reason. I have no idea.
I am half Yorkshire, but we're included.
But still,
we exist.
There's dozens of us.
But basically,
literally doesn't.
It's just basically like a cooking show, like MasterChef, where they get these high-end chefs, like top of the range chefs, to basically try and like cook the best menu for what comes to be like a banquet. And this year's brief is animation and illustration. So they've been doing like one of them did like a Banksy dessert where it was like say a cheesecake that was made like the little girl in the balloon, which was just absolutely phenomenal. Seeing someone make like food look like a piece of art. Someone used like the cover of Worms, the computer game, as it, and did like little like things. But the amount of food, and like normally it's quite competitive where the chefs are quite dicks to each other. But this time they've been quite nice. But like say the scores and everything's been out of this world. But yeah, so been watching a bit of high class BBC entertainment as well. And then we took it to the land of the trash, and I've been I did watch a new episode of Moonshiners. I did. The guy that I've forgotten his name now is who's coming up and is taking other people's business, so people are getting angry at him. So he's stepping on people's toes. but he made this mimosa moonshine that was crossed with watermelon, so it sounded quite nice. And he forgot to turn his still off though when it was emptied, so it exploded.
Fucking idiot.
So he made a mistake.
I've seen how important that shit is.
Yeah. And see, I've got some sad news for you, Sam, as well.
Oh, what?
You know the two old blokes that you saw sitting in the chair? One of them's been harassed by the law, so he's retired on the episode.
What?
I thought you were going to say they exploded too.
No. The one with the hat on.
Is that the one who was like, who told you to sit down, boy?
No, that was the other one. He's still going to continue, but his partner, because the law came to his door and started harassing him. So he says it's too hot for him to do it at this moment in time.
Oh, that's so sad. They were so funny. Like they act like hard as fuck.
Yeah,
like they're really intimidating, but they can like switch it like 180 in like a matter of seconds. It was just like they were so heated, and then all of a sudden you just went, "I ain't your enemy, boy," and it just like proper calmed down, and it was so great. And then they spilled some really old gin that was quite important to them, and they were just gonna set it on fire until the guy with the hat was like, "Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea."
Is this why it always explodes? It's fire the answer.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad that the police are chasing them.
If it's the real police, because as you meant, like I said, this is a reality TV show about an illegal act that you do get like jail time in America for doing, where they're doing it in hiding with a film crew.
Yeah, massive production.
I'm presumably selling this product somewhere.
They sell it for like $100 a jar, and the jars are just like 1 liter.
You need to get one. We need to do a taste test.
Oh no, because he was saying on the episode where he spilled it, he goes, there's people who think that they're drinking 160, 180 proof alcohol when really they're only drinking 100. That shit will kill you.
Okay.
Yes. So that's our updated on Moonshine now. And we did try and broadcast it live on YouTube, but YouTube took it down. So if you do want to watch Sam's reaction, we were able to upload a small clip. It is on YouTube. Yeah, but it's for some reason it's banned in Germany. YouTube has banned it in Germany.
Yeah.
But it is
much for the Germans.
But it is up on the Patreon as well, so you can watch the full episode on our Patreon. And I know Sam's now got 3 episodes of a Game of Thrones talk along on the Patreon, and as a special treat for you guys, I am going to upload the first episode tomorrow on YouTube to give everyone a taste of what they're missing out on Sam 1 and Sam 2 talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we're going to make that work. That's Sam 1 and Sam 2. Yeah, come and join us. It's honestly, the first episode is just an intro into us and an intro into our, how we found Game of Thrones.
Into the madness.
Into the crazy. Well, actually, that's the second episode. Into the Crazy is about the bloodline of the Targaryens, and it's not your typical talk of what you would think of Targaryens. So it is really interesting.
Because I'm just used to typical talk of Targaryens.
Typical talk of Daenerys. This is nothing like that. We go a little bit more deeper. So if you do want to be a Patreon, go on, do it. Go on.
And I believe I'm going to put her on the spot here as well, because I know Sam's thinking about doing a Lord of the Rings one soon, and I know Sonia got quite excited when we mentioned that before.
we just need to figure out the logistics of it. But yeah, I do want to do something with Lord of the Rings, so you are definitely in my forefront, Sonia, when I do that.
You have my axe, I mean.
Shall we get into this week's episode?
Do you want to do your disclaimer that we were panicking thinking we were going to have to remember it?
Oh, bless you. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Very well done. And when we say keep the toxicity out of nerdism, I'm laughing at the chat because Beth's threatened to hit Goodwill in the face with a plunger, so I don't know what's happening there tonight.
Sounds toxic.
Yeah, we're trying to be positive, Beth. It's a positive day because that's what we do, Beth.
And to be fair, though, because, like I say, with Sam being big time now, because they're coming on late, she's done a Danny Jones Jules on us today because she was at the Comic-Con with the cast of Red Dwarf. And he turned up late, so she thought, if he can do it, I'll do it as well.
He did. Yeah, he rocked up his queue was like massive, and he just rocked up half an hour late, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And Chris Barry just went, "Dear, gives a hug," and then that was about it. I saw the most. Just before we get to this week's episode, I saw Danny John Jules take a woman in a wheelchair and run her around the convention center.
Like without a consent, or
no, she was fucking loving it. It was. I caught up with her later on and I was like, was that fun? And she went, it was the best experience of my goddamn life. Like, it was just so unpredictable. I thought it was great. So yeah, I got to witness that today. Anyway, The Simpsons.
But yes.
I absolutely love your picture, Sonia, but it took us a while. I was like, what is that? My eyes are like, I need my glasses so badly. My eyes are not focusing properly.
No, we're only going to talk about Tracy Ullman short era Simpsons.
Oh shit. But yes, that was a good starting point as well, because I like to say with The Simpsons, I think we were talking about before, it is the show that will never die. It'll just continue on forever past everyone like who works in The Simpsons will probably have died. Most of them have died. But yes, 1989, I believe this started.
Wow.
Never. Yeah. Like, are we talking 1989 this version? Like what we can see on Saturday? Are we talking like
that was the Simpsons starting point, 1989, and I think it's I'm trying to think it was 30 how many? I know I had this up before.
Michaela's 34 and she was born in 1989.
So I'm just trying to think how many seasons there was. I'm just going
to
get
that. I was born in 88. So
Same.
I am 1 year older than the Simpsons. That is horrifying.
Wow. I hate the fact that I have more years on you. That's...
Yeah. You remember a pre-Simpsons world? We don't.
I do. I remember not just only that, I remember the promotion leading up to The Simpsons. I remember it all, and I remember a big, massive billboard in Sunderland that now is a bunch of flats just past the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a huge billboard, and the picture of Bart Simpson was there for ages. I used to love going past that picture.
I've just looked up 34 seasons of The Simpsons has been. 34. Think of that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as old as me. Seasons.
That's like a season a year, right?
Mm-hmm. I know some times there was like due to writers' strikes and stuff, there was like a shorter season, but it was normally 22. Or was it 22 episodes? I can't.
It's usual. That is usual for like an American show. Is 22.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about Simpsons is you don't really miss it when there isn't new episodes because they'll just replay the old ones. Like when we were kids and stuff, like there were like Channel 2 was behind, but like you could get new ones on Sky, but then you always had your Channel 2 like every night to fall back on, so you never like missed it per se.
No.
Well, this is gonna show how old like me and Sammy are here, because as you said, with the marketing campaign that goes on, it wasn't marketed as The Simpsons. It was the marketing for the launch of Sky TV, and Sky TV, when Sky One was launched, that was the big thing that was promoted by. It was like you have to get Sky TV to be able to watch this amazing American TV show called The Simpsons. And it was the first cartoon.
Family didn't.
Yeah, and I think it was the first cartoon that was on every Sunday, and it was on 7:30 or 7 o'clock, on a Sunday night. So I didn't have it. Like I said, my fondest memory was because me Nana and Granda used to live in a block of flats at Roker, down Roker Avenue, and this is how stupid Sky TV was. In the block of flats, if one person had Sky TV, the whole block of flats had Sky TV.
Nice.
So it was like Sharon's count. It's like almost like Netflix password sharing, but with Sky back then. And my granddad used to tape The Simpsons and WWF main event on a Saturday and Sunday night. So I used to wait for me videos for me granddad on a Monday night so I can watch the two things, and that was the first thing. I think I never got. I know they brought out like the DVDs and videos, but I didn't get to watch like the very, very first few episodes of The Simpsons till a little bit later. So I think I caught on just after like I think the episode was when Lisa gets a new like teacher, and and he's like a nice teacher and stuff. It's not creepy, and it's just teaching Homer how to be a better dad and appreciate and stuff. So I think that was the first episode I can remember watching. I can't remember the name of it, but I just remembered like Lisa and the
Lisa substitute, probably.
Possibly the substitute teacher.
Oh, was he a cowboy or something? Did he have like a cowboy hat?
He had a guitar.
That was the cowboy hat. Because he got
cowboy hat. Yeah.
You are Lisa Simpson. That's how that one ends.
Yeah.
That's the famous.
Oh, I remember
on
that.
the train. Yeah, when he's on the train.
And it's kind of like doing all this creepy stuff that if you watch now, you go, oh, it's a bit creepy.
Yeah, you couldn't do that now. Sincerely,
no. I don't think we didn't have Sky until very much later on, like before The Simpsons was. But my granddad did, so I did catch the occasional. Because my granddad loved television. If I haven't already mentioned this before, my granddad was a telly fiend. So the minute Sky came on, he got it because it was just more channels to add to his watching pleasure. But the first thing I remember is my mum and dad getting me and my sister matching Bart Simpson t-shirts. And I remember them so well. They were just white with Bart on, but the sleeves were green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. And I got a really good school report once, and my mum and dad bought me a Simpsons VHS as a well done, and it was the episode was Bart bullying Nelson, where he's going to get beat up, and Bart like tries to come up with these like schemes to get away with it, and there was another episode, and I generally can't remember what it was, but there was like 2 episodes on this VHS. It was fantastic. It was everything, because that was my like I didn't have to go and watch constantly like on normal telly. So
no, I remember the cover. I remember the cover for the VHS as well, because it had Bart like in the front with the army hat, the glasses, and he was chewing like the piece of
my god,
like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that. It was white, wasn't it? Was it white, and it had like a yellow rim going around it?
Careful, you'll get goodwill going saying rim, so don't, just be careful.
Apologies.
Yeah. So what was your, like, say, the first episode that you can remember, Jake? Like, say, not to put like saying you have to name it now and tell us the exact one, but
I can name it now.
Was it, Jake?
It was Simpsons roasting on an open fire. But anyway, no, I had a very similar experience to you, Paul, in that one of my dad's work friends basically just brought me a tape that he taped off Sky. And I think it was like pretty much the whole first run, like the first season. So I didn't really see any until I got that tape, because I think it was just a kind of accepted thing back then, when like you would see something and then be like, oh, kids will love this, so like, you know, like for me, son, will you? We can't afford Sky type of thing. My granddad friend at work who used to get us wrestling tapes, I had the same thing as you, Paul, where it'd be like on Tuesday night or whatever, like, can we go around? Has he made the tape yet? He had one of those tape copying machines.
Tape copying machines? Did he not press record?
No, like you could actually buy one for himself.
Yeah. He kept one for himself, and then he could like churn out copies.
Like record off it. I remember them. Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, like it would have been the first the weird Christmas episode, which is an odd first episode choice. But
yeah, because it was called the Simpsons Christmas Special as well, so that always threw me. I was like, is there more before this, or what?
No,
like, what was it?
Not.
Yeah,
Santa's Little Helper.
Yeah, I don't think it was
on the VHS.
You had that
Santa's
one.
Little Helper, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it was the first in like production order, but it was the first one they decided to put out, or whatever that's called when the switch stuff around.
Yeah, I looked at Disney Plus before we went, like, say, because when we were looking at Simpsons, I went, I'll need a recap, because I'll be honest, I'm not really up to date with the newer stuff, because as we talked last week, I don't think it is for me. It's not like for my age group, apparently. I'm too old for The Simpsons now. But I look back, and that is the first episode on the Disney Plus. Season 1 is the Christmas one. So I was like, interesting. But yeah, what about you, Sonia? What was your first foray into the green people? I mean, the yellow people, sorry.
The green people. I didn't have Sky, and I never got Sky, so mine was always just Channel 2. which put me at a disadvantage to all the other Simpsons fanatics at the time. But the first episode, I don't know if it's the first episode I saw or if it's the first episode I can remember.
Mhm.
But whenever I think back to my childhood experiences, I always remember the Babysitter Bandit, the episode with the
Yeah.
babysitter. Like
Yeah.
that always comes to my mind the most as like the first episode. And I've seen that episode so many times. It must have just been constantly replayed
Replayed.
on Channel 2. Yeah.
There was
I think I might have recorded it from Channel 2 potentially, and I just watched that back over and over.
I remember the Babysitter Bandit because I could see that he had Bart and Lisa just like freaking out, and she was.
It was
Yeah.
like the animation was like disgusting on those like
Yeah.
early episodes as well. It was actually the Rugrats people, you know, Klatsky Chupo.
Mhm.
Like that's who used to do the Simpsons animation, but
Oh.
all of the Simpsons like people hated it.
Mhm.
So like that's why it's season 2 it changes to like somewhere else. But like I think that guy, like I think he's called like Gabor Klatsky or whatever. Like he's always held a grudge against like the Simpsons staff for dropping them after like one season because it was obviously became the biggest show
Mhm.
in the entire world. Like not long after that.
That's the thing, as a progression goes through, because normally most animations they try and keep the same look and feel, but
Yeah.
the Simpsons gradually got more clearer, and like I know technology got better, but it's so noticeable when you watch through the Simpsons. Like you can even tell like pretty much the year like the episode was from, depending on how clean or how clear cut the animation was. And I know they changed the voice on Homer as well, because the Homer one was like quite gruff and angry sounding on the first like couple of episodes of the season.
Yeah,
And
like
then
we had lower register for
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
and he got higher and higher.
Is it the same guy though?
Yeah,
'Cause- yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, told Dan.
Castellaneta.
I thought it was that episode of Friends that he was in where he's with
Yeah,
them, where he's telling
yeah.
Ross about Marcel the monkey and where he
Yeah, he's
is,
in the
and
zoo.
he's sitting there forever going, how do I know this voice?
Yeah.
Not
so
the
many people from The
person.
Simpsons in Friends. Like I watched it back recently, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's Hank Azaria!" Like, how have I never realized that's Hank Azaria?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They show up in random places because Homer's in Space Jam for a little bit. It's just a guy in the basketball crowd. Then Hank Azaria, I believe, is in Godzilla, the 1998 American Godzilla
Oh,
movie. He's like
he's
one of
in-
like the dude's friends. He
He's
doesn't
in
do
all
much.
sorts. Hank Azaria is in like, isn't he a Mystery Man?
Mystery Men's the best one, where he plays the guy who bends his spoons or something like that, or throws his spoons. So he like steals all his mum's cutlery and stuff like that.
Stop flinging a spoon at everyone.
Take that. Mystery Men was great. But yeah, like I think the biggest thing as well from like my childhood, what I remember is not just like the advertisement campaign it goes on today, is like the merchandise that came with the
Yeah.
Simpsons. Like I know we've had Star Wars and like other things that came around about the same time, but the Simpsons was literally on everything. I remember getting a free record like Deep Trouble from buying a pair of jeans at Geordie Jeans. So in
He's
Sunderland,
Geordie Jeans.
Is this our first Geordie Jeans reference on the
Sure.
podcast?
but
It is.
Love it.
any
And
Americans that want to look
Geordie
up
jeans today, like what, this is like Twilight Zone.
Geordie Jeans.
Yeah, Americans search Geordie Jeans. You'll get a high level of content for jeans fetishes out there. But yeah,
You'll get a few shooting stars skits as well.
Geordie jumpers.
Yeah.
Geordie Jeans,
jumpers.
Panda Pop.
Panda Pop.
Those
yes.
were the days.
But I remember
Oh.
going in because I bought a pair. Like my mum bought. Well, I didn't, because I didn't have pocket money or anything when I was a kid. So I needed a new pair of jeans. So I got. I think it was was it Eclipse
Yeah.
jeans, where they were like
Eclipse.
extra baggy and they had like drug paraphernalia on the bottom. And I had one of them T-shirts where if you pressed on it, they changed colour.
Yeah,
so-
the hyper thingy ones.
So anytime
Yes.
you sweated, it
Like
just showed you sweat marks and stuff like that.
Sweat actually cleans this suit.
But I got
thought that
free.
was the absolute shits when I had them t-shirts at school.
But yeah, when I got that, I got a free like LP. It wasn't a CD. It was like an LP, little miniature like record of Deep Trouble by Bart Simpson, and my dad must have hid it because I used to just play it all the time.
Oh.
That and Macho Man for some reason, like Macho Man. Don't know why.
I want to be a macho man.
Before they did the
I feel
Nacho
like-
Man, Joe.
I feel like merchandise, like as a standard like existed,
Mhm.
but I feel like Simpsons really popularized the idea of like having pop culture merchandise,
Mhm.
because like everywhere you looked, it wasn't just clothes. Like my brother had an alarm clock that
Oh,
was like the living room, and you could interact with bits, and there were like
Yes, I
I had
remember
a different
that.
alarm. I had a
CDs
different
and
alarm clock.
Walkmans.
I thought you were gonna say the same one. Mine was like Bart with a skateboard, and the time was on the skateboard. It was
I
like
remember
so
that
annoying
too.
because he used to talk and be like, "Hey man, you're not out of bed yet," and stuff like that. It's like, shut up.
You Bart.
Yeah, why would Bart tell me to get up for school?
I had one of those. It was Bart Simpson on a skateboard. You know the ones where you had to flip them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pointless. But I had one of them. I also had a van that was Homer's nuclear van, like for his job, which he never had in the show. But if you had like a peephole in the back, and if you looked in, you could see like a scene, like a clip.
And
Like-
that's where Sam's peeping Tom days started. So yes.
Yeah, through that bloody car. So yeah, you could look in and you could see like what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like a still from the show in the car. But one time I was looking and something. There must have been like a beetle in it, but obviously because it's magnified, not a beetle, but like a fly or something.
No.
But it magnified and it looked huge. That thing went straight
No,
in the
the
bin.
nuclear beetle's coming to get me now.
It honestly, like on reflection, it had to have just been like a tiny fly or something. But because the thing was magnified, it was huge and it was walking around.
We're there, so it made it
van.
look bigger. Where can I get one of those things to make things look bigger?
To give to all of your loved ones.
So I can send pictures to Sam's mom. No, sorry, I'm really not going to do that.
But yeah, like the Simpsons merch stuff, like it proceeded past when like all of us were kids though, because like for like Christmases year upon year, you would always like get a random Simpsons thing. Like I'm sure I've got like a mini fridge that's like got like Homer on the side being like alcohol, the cause and solution to all of life's problems, which isn't a great gift for a kid.
No, like
But mini
on
fridge, hell
reflection.
yeah.
When my sister was poorly when she was little, and when she came out of hospital, she got a Bart, and it was a Bart Simpson like doll, and you had like the string at the back where he would say things. His head was hard.
And his body was soft, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, he was mint. She carried him around everywhere, and his head was like proper spiky too.
I tell you what though, like, because I know we were going through like most of the time when we were kids, like a lot of cartoons was brought out just to sell figures, like He-Man, like the Turtles and stuff. Like it was almost like the figures came out before the cartoon at times. But when the Simpsons figures came out, because like when you look back at like nostalgia always makes things remember greatly, because I got the Turtles figures quite a thing. I'm like, these are tiny and like not really looking like the Turtles. But the Simpsons figures were always highly quality made and looked like, say, I know it was very rudimentary with the cartoon being quite simple, but they always looked spot on. And like I remember getting like Bart Simpson, Homer. I know certain ones like was always hard to come by, but that was the one thing I remember is like how like. Because you can get shitty knockoffs, but like the quality of the figures for the Simpsons was always like up there with like the best products you get.
Quality hard plastic.
But I remember, but I remember when the Simpsons came out as well, because there was a lot of controversy when it comes to the Simpsons. And I know we look back now when you watch the Simpsons episodes, you think why? Because when we've got like the likes of Family Guy, South Park, and shit like that. It, like say to the degrees and extremes they take it, but the Simpsons used to get like say it was always classed as like an adult cartoon, because instead of saying like butt or something, it would say ass, or it would have like small dirty words in, or like small jokes that were classed as for adults as well. But I remember like say people trying to ban the Simpsons on UK TV because they thought it was corrupting the youth of the day and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they make it. Sorry. I was just going to say the joke about this later in the show where like Bart's like, I'm this century's Dennis the Menace. But I was going to ask Sammy, actually, was your t-shirt the one that said down with homework? Because that did get banned in like a lot of American schools, because it was like the first Bart Simpson t-shirt.
It's I think it just said cowabunga.
Right. So maybe we didn't get the down with homework.
Or something like that. I always remember the sleeves being green.
My dad definitely had a Bart Simpson t-shirt that said "Homework sucks,"
Mm-hmm.
and
he's not.
I I broke my wrist when I was young, and I got sent to school because my parents thought I was putting it on. So I got sent to school, and the teacher was like, "Why can't you hold your pen, Sonia?" And I was like, "Oh, hand." And they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to ring your dad to come and collect you." And my dad like worked in like a manual labor job, so he used to wear like overalls, and he turned up to collect me in his homework sucks Bart Simpson t-shirt. And even today, it's one of his favorite stories that he turned up to like pick up his like 6-year-old daughter with a t-shirt on that says homework sucks.
He got to make the statement that was on the shirt.
Isn't it hilarious how many stories you hear of parents sending their kids to school with injuries? Like, I have one, Anth has one. They just didn't believe a word we were saying.
To be fair though, it's not like we're at American high school. Like if you want to scream, you get almost murdered, and then you get you go to work go to school the next day to see all your friends.
I think you've always like a good point though about like childhood and hidden messages and whatnot. I was actually having a conversation with my brother earlier, and we were saying like there's so many episodes of The Simpsons that you watch as a child that you don't actually understand until you watch back as an adult. And like one that really comes to mind is the episode where Bart is in a relationship with his teacher, Mrs. Krabappel, but she doesn't know it's Bart. She thinks it's a legitimate admirer. And like that was funny as a kid, but watching that back as an adult, he fucking breaks her heart. Like that is a horrendous episode. But I never understood that as a kid, and like looking back now I'm like, wow, like how could anyone do that to another person? Like
Woodrow.
it's awful.
So give the first idea of how catfishing could work.
Yeah, literally.
It was Bart Simpson.
We had to write letters back then.
But like I said, there was definitely like a lot of jokes back then that were juvenile humor. It is the way of the world. But like I said, like prank calling the bar and stuff, I remember having to piss myself laughing every time, like say Mork shouted, said IP Freely, I'm looking for an IP Freely, and all of them's laughing. But like say the mental abuse and torment you would go through like each day if that happened, it would drive you nuts to the point where like say I'm getting this abuse, this little shit won't leave us alone. But it's that.
One thing I want to bring up, because everyone's saying like, about the parents and stuff. Like, did your parents all like The Simpsons? Because that was like something that I like definitely bonded with like my dad with. Like, we would watch The Simpsons together. We might not watch many other things together because he was probably just like tolerating cartoons half the time. I think he liked Ninja Turtles though. But like we all sat down and watched The Simpsons together.
Yes, we did too. 100% we did. My parents were very much like that. There's a lot of programs I could go back over in how we all used to sit and watch as a family. That was one. Miami Ink was another.
A bit later on.
I don't have memories.
You don't have memories. Memories.
I have memory. I just don't have any. I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I don't have any memory of watching it as a family. I know I definitely would have watched with my brother and maybe my dad, but I don't think my mum was ever interested. I think the only thing she ever watched with us like properly was Malcolm in the Middle.
That's another good one.
It's very much like cartoony. So, but I don't know if I'm Joe. My correct is I don't know if I'm misremembering, but it never felt like. I think the only thing we watched all together properly, routinely, was Star Trek on a Sunday. Voyager.
Yeah, with my dad, it was a bit sci-fi. It was like or sports. Like he hated The Simpsons. He hate to be honest, he refuses to watch our podcast because of the language I use. That's how. Like say that's how supportive.
Bart Simpson would have made fun of him, basically. Is what you're getting.
He's like even to the point where we were talking about like the shows today, like because I tried to get my mum and dad to watch The Last of Us, and my dad was like, "Oh, there was too much bad language. The girl was swearing too much." My mum was like, "Alan, people swear. You've got to get over this. You're in your 60s. Let it go." And like, but yeah, my dad refuses to watch the podcast because I swear so much. So like, The Simpsons was never going to be like his bag. But he's never been the way where he would stop me from watching something. But I used to watch it with my brother more than anything else. But I think I used to like absolutely adore The Simpsons. I know. I used to like it when they used to have cohesive stories and stuff. I know it's hard to think, but like where you used to have like a start finish, where now it's kind of like just more random, like stuff just thrown in. But the highlight of the year every year was the Halloween Treehouse of Horrors. Like I used to wait all year round. And I used to even love that they used to have like a little disclaimer before the episode saying this episode is not suitable for kids. There's going to be scary stuff, bad language and stuff. So you used to always get like really excited for it as well.
Yeah, because they were like, "Don't come complaining to us tomorrow." So it was like really like meta. Well, there was that guy with like there was one year where it had like the Fox executive was like reading the script and being like, no, and then like, no, like crossing out all the jokes. They always like to mess around with that stuff.
But yeah,
my favorite one of the Treehouse of Horrors is always going to be the Amityville with the house.
Where they annoy the house so much it dies.
Yeah, exactly. No, the same episode they get abducted by aliens. Is that one, or is that?
It depends.
I think
it's a different one.
I think the first one is like, I think it's that one, the aliens, and then the Raven. You know, like the Edgar Allan Poe.
The Raven, Nevermore.
My favorite was the monkey paw episode.
Yes.
Frozen yogurt. The yogurt is also cursed.
And he's like, I just want a turkey sandwich, and he's got bread good, mayonnaise. The turkey is dry.
That was the point, and like that was definitely the first time I heard of a monkey's paw, which is like a quite famous phrase or story. But yeah, I think that was that the same year that had King Homer as well, like the King Kong parody. I loved that one when I was a kid.
I love my favorite is when it's like a bit like Frankenstein, where they put Homer's brain in a robot, and then he falls over and crushes Mr. Burns. So like say he dreams and Mr. Burns' head gets attached to Homer's shoulder. So in the next scene, Homer wakes up from like the nightmare and he's like, "Oh, it's just a dream." And then he goes in the mirror and you see Mr. Burns' head just there going, "Simpson, get this sorted." But yeah,
because it's like because Homer gets fired, then gets a job as a grave digger.
Yeah.
And then like he falls asleep in the grave, so they think he's a corpse. It's really dark. It's like they were trying to create the perfect worker, but accidentally put the brain of Homer inside of the robot. Yeah. It's a pretty great twist on that whole thing.
No, I can always remember like say certain ones. I know they did a good one with the gremlin on the plane as well, where
they did,
the terror at 5.5 feet, I think they called that one.
But it was instead of the plane, it was on the school bus, and then when the school bus arrives, it like say the wheel falls off and like the bus explodes or something ridiculous when the kids are all safe, and then Bart's getting put in the loony bin and stuff like that. But they always used to do good send-ups as well. Like the Shining episode was always brilliant up there, like one of my favourites as well.
That was a lot of the first time I ever saw any of these references, like friggin'
same.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they've had everything like going back through like film history and just like I know stupid random celebrities and things about places that I shouldn't know, but it's all just because of the Simpsons in a roundabout way.
Well, that was like, also like a great point I wanted to talk about as well is the cameos to the Simpsons as well. I know it's like with it being a cartoon, it's hard to have a cameo, but how they used to fit them in. I know the early ones used to try and make it like as ridiculous as possible. Like I remember the Michael Jackson episode where they had like a mental asylum guy playing, like thinking it was Michael Jackson, and they kept on making jokes about a white Michael Jackson and who knew how that would turn out type thing.
But like, was that actually him? Because I feel like there's like weird thing where they're like, it wasn't actually him doing the voice.
By him.
No. It was very, very close. Mm-hmm. And back then you couldn't look things up.
I remember when Lisa Kudrow did a voice of one of Lisa's school friends. I don't know if it was a bully or a friend or something like that. And I lost my mind because at the time Friends was starting and it's like, oh my God, it's Phoebe.
Yeah, me brother actually made this point earlier, and I think it's really, really a good point. Is that in the early days of The Simpsons, the celebrities voiced people that were characters,
Mhm.
and a lot
Yeah.
of the times they went uncredited. So there's like a Tom Hanks voice, there's a Dustin Hoffman voice, but they're not credited.
Mhm.
And if you watch the
Oh.
old series back, you'll hear those voices. But in the later seasons and the more current seasons, they'll have like a full episode about Lady Gaga, where
Mhm.
Lady Gaga is voiced by Lady
Yeah.
Gaga.
Yeah.
So it really like shows you like the difference between it being like a niche thing for people to sort of have their voice added to
Yeah.
then it being a place where celebrities, like I think the last season I watched there was a Justin Bieber episode and he was played by Justin Bieber. It's like you just couldn't imagine it being that big when it first started out.
It feels a bit tasteless like today, whereas they would use it like sparingly. Like I'm pretty sure like Bret Hart just shows up in one Simpsons episode that wasn't too late.
Yeah,
but that felt like a funny one-off thing. It wasn't like the episode revolved around him type of thing.
I think it was when he was
buying Mr. Burns' mansion.
He's going, this mansion smells of old man. Mr. Burns is like walking out. But
old
yeah,
man stink.
I still like say one of my favorites as well as the X-Files episodes. Like
God,
Mulder and Scully, and like said, I bring peace. I bring
that one's legendary. Like I used to watch that. Yeah, break its legs. I used to watch that one like every Friday because it's like a Friday episode where it starts off and like school is finishing and work and everything. And I used to like sit and watch the tape it was like the Springfield Files. It had like 4 weird episodes on where like weird stuff happened. But yeah, I used to sit and watch that every Friday because I was like, this is a thing. I'm feeling what the characters are feeling. It's even got Donkey Kong shows up randomly.
Don't
I
they
feel
even
like the episodes that I remember the most, and I don't know whether this is a me thing or whether it's like just part of growing up and being like becoming adolescent. But the episodes I remember the most are the episodes that like had a really deep and like emotional connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll remember scenes and I remember quotes and I can quote them till the cows come home, but I probably couldn't remember the full episode or what happened in that episode.
Yeah.
But episodes like the episode where you find out why there's no pictures of Maggie in the photo books, and then you see like Homer's do it for her at the end, or the episode where Bart steals the video game and the family start treating him differently. Like they're such emotional episodes, and I remember them bit for bit because I remember as a kid being like really like
invested in,
like touched by them, and like to this day, they're still, when I think about The Simpsons, I think about the episodes that actually made us like quite goosebumpy and quite like emotional, whereas actually that's not what I quote and talk about on a daily basis.
Yeah,
one-liners.
I think that's the thing with The Simpsons. It as you said, there's 34 seasons of it out there, so it's impossible to go through and say I remember every single thing that happened, but it's the ones that resonate, like kind of as Sammy said before, the video case, like Bart and the bully, because everyone, like, we're all nerds, we all used to get bullied or were bullies type thing in certain ways, so it kind of resonates, in like the little aspects and little film references, like always like jumps to me. Like that's the things that I enjoyed for it. But if you told us to name like what happened in so many episodes, because like I used to watch The Simpsons like back to back. I wouldn't be able to tell you what happens in such and such. I probably wouldn't be able to tell you what happened in many episodes after The Simpsons movie. But we'll talk about The Simpsons movie a little bit later. But no, because like say, I love the fact that each one of us has probably got parts of Simpsons or episodes that mean more to use, or because of like say that thing, because they did used to be able to have the emotional element to it, and it used to have the opportunity to, not to sound horrible, but reach down and grab your heartstrings at times, and that was because you got used to these characters and you got to love these characters as well. And with a cartoon or a show, I think it was quite brave in aspects it did, but with the cast as well, because it didn't just have the Simpsons family, it had the whole city, and he used to give you so much and grow on that, and it wasn't scared to say, oh, this is like a confined place. It used to give you all the broad strokes that you used to get from, like, say, you would if you walked around town and saw all these characters, and each one of them had their own personality, which they could have got away with. Like, even like side characters at the start, like Carl and Lenny, who turned into like big characters and got their own like different fan bases as well. So
Yeah.
that's
His
my
sisters,
mini rant.
my favourites. I love them. Patty and Selma.
Yeah.
I so want to be them.
The MacGyver
Little
episode
lasses.
that's one that jumps out. The
my
Patty and Selma, the
God,
MacGyver episode.
MacGyver.
That was when.
Thank you, Senor MacGyver. Don't thank me. Thank for the
MacGyver.
gravitational pull.
But like, when we come to bad guys as well in this show as well, because everyone has to have good bad guys, and the Simpsons had top tier bad guys. Like Sideshow Bob was up there. Like, and when they brought in I think Goodwill mentioned in the chat, like Hank's was it Hank Scorpio or something? Like
God,
when they done the
he's
Bond
my
rift.
favourite. He's so good. I love the part where he's just like, when like Homer first meets him in the house, and then he just like throws his shoes and then puts on the marathon thing, and he's like, "I'm running a marathon." He just, like, runs out. So
But was he
good.
actually a bad guy though?
No,
He was
No,
the old
he
bit
was
nice boss.
Yeah, he was like the only good boss Homer will ever see. Apart from he liked the bowling alley, didn't he? Until he shot the gun to try and attract customers. Yeah, but you skipped over Mr. Burns as
Yeah,
well.
I
who's
was
a
going to come to
constant-
Mr. Burns. Yes, it was the
Yeah,
constant
he's-
evil
Fat
bad.
Tony.
Fat Tony.
Fat
Mm,
Tony is amazing.
Fat Tony.
It's like the original Tony Soprano.
that episode where Bart goes to work with him like sticks in my mind for some reason. And like
Yes,
it never
so
really-
Good. It's good, fellas.
yeah, and just like when they do, it started the trend of when they do like the TV movies, you know, when it was like I can't remember who played Bart Simpson, but it was like an adult version of the story of him like killing Skinner and stuff. And then they do it later with like the Homer Badman one, and it's like Homer driving the babysitter home, like, no, Mr. Simpson, a cat is a living creature. I don't care.
I'm coming for that candy.
Yeah.
But yeah, but did touch on some like really important points. But like as you said, Mr. Burns was probably the ultimate bad guy. My favorite bad
He's
guy.
good because he can do everything. He can be like, he can just be your regular shitty boss, or he can be like, you know, criminal mastermind, like billionaire. Like he's like the perfect character for them to have in the show because it can just do anything they want with it.
No, and like my other favorite one, I don't know if you can class him as a villain, but was I've got his name now. Was it Grimes? What's he called?
Yeah, he's kind of a villain. Yeah,
Grimes.
Grimy.
No, Paul, you have to call him Grimy.
I posit to everybody else that actually Homer Simpson is the bad guy and Grimy is completely right. Like Homer is an asshole. Like he really is. If I knew him in real life, I would hate him.
To be fair, we all know
I
Homer
agree,
Simpson out there.
Yes, we.
You were in space. You've never been.
You've had this life. You're such a buffoon. Why does everyone just laugh at you?
With lobster for dinner.
Lobster in your house.
But like, I think like, yeah, Grimy is like you could make an argument saying he's like the regular person like dropped into the Simpsons world, and like why wouldn't you hate Homer?
Yeah.
Like in that specific episode, like Homer isn't doing any harm, which I guess
he's not
that's
doing anything.
that's
Just
what Lenny
existing.
and Carl have kind of come to like accept, like, oh, that's just Homer. And like, yeah, because it's so he's too normal of a character than the absurdity just like drives him over the edge.
Oh, I know
It's
who
a really
it
good
is
idea.
now. Sorry, I have had to like Google it because I wasn't too sure who you were talking about, and I was like, I feel left out of this.
But then wasn't there a sequel episode where his son like came back to get like revenge, and it was a bit like, I know what you did last summer
Very
type
much
vibes.
But when you talk about like big villains in it, I as you said, Mr. Burns was up there, and like when we got that whole like arc, like who shot Mr. Burns, like that was absolutely massive. I think they were even taking on bets like at Vegas to like people were putting on bets to
Our
see
betting shops.
Yeah,
Here.
it was
could have made money if you thought about Maggie at the time.
But because it was a pure piss take out of like Dallas out in GR, like who shot GR type thing.
Yeah, but I was like in Florida between those episodes because it was the end of a season, like finale was part 1, and then they made people wait like to see part 2.
Yeah.
So like in America they had all these TV shows where they were just talking about it, like they were doing like a fake like as if it was like a real scandal, like documentary, you know, like a crime documentary type
That
of
is
thing.
so cool.
And they had like
America's
call-in
Next-
numbers and everything, but so like that one is like totally burned into my brain as like a favorite because of that. And then I had it on like videotape, and it is a pretty cool, ridiculous set of episodes with a lot of Twin Peaks references that I didn't understand then.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually lost interest by the time it came back on, that I didn't give a shit, and I didn't find out for a really long time who shot Mr. Burns.
I know if you watch, because when they brought it out on DVD, there was loads of extras, and it showed you like the making of that 3-parter, and they had I think it was about 10 different finishes. So they had they made like where like different people are shot, like Homer shot him, Smithers. That even Santa's little helper shooting him at one point.
Because like I think they had Hank Azaria record like the 8 different lines or whatever, because he just says it in the hospital, and then they could like go from there. But apparently that was literally, they always knew it would be Maggie, and that was just so it couldn't leak out, because they obviously had this massive media blitz planned, like to get people excited to watch. Next season.
How cool is that though? We don't get that anymore. Like, I know, like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
we just,
and it's so sad.
Yeah, I know you said you got bored and you didn't like finish that like till later on.
That's just my age at the time. That's all.
No, I'm just saying. Was anyone disappointed about that it being Maggie? Because I was like, that's just stupid. The cartoon's been stupid.
Cartoons have been stupid.
I was young enough at the time, or kind of at an age where like, I just sort of accepted media. I wasn't at the point in my life where like I was really like,
well, you thought you could have an opinion
and reflect. Yeah, it was more like, all right, then, well, this happened. But like, if you go on YouTube now, there are like hour-long video essays of people saying it wasn't Maggie and here's why. And then they'll talk about like all of the reasons.
Conspiracy theories.
Literally, there are theories on YouTube to this day of people talking about why it wasn't Maggie.
I feel like,
and I thought I had a lot of time on my hands.
But I feel like that goes against like everything, like they missed the entire point of that episode, because like they cover that like when Lisa's like, in with your last ounce of strength, you pointed to like W and S, which from your point of view was M and S, Maggie Simpson. And then he's like, no, with my last ounce of strength, I sucked out all my fillings and swallowed those paralytic sticky fingers. It's like, that's what it was. Like, nobody making all the stupid theories was right. Like, nobody in the show, and they were trying to say like, just don't take this so seriously type of thing.
It's a TV show, kids.
No, some of my favorite
YouTubers miss so many points, and yet we'll make a 2-hour video.
Yes, definitely. Well, to be fair, we make a 2-hour video of talking about shite, so like, it's easy doing.
That's true. That is true. I feel like you skirted over one of the best villains of all time in this program is Sideshow Bob.
Oh, I wasn't skirting over him. I was coming back there.
So. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just you said his name, and I was like, oh, we're not.
Friggin'
I could say Kelsey Grammer's like being the perfect voice, but I loved the parody episodes we got with Sideshow Bob, because like I think Lee mentioned it, like the Silence of the Lambs episode, where it was kind of like. Cape Fear was absolutely amazing. That was one that stood out to me. Probably one of the best. I
think that was on the same tape with like Who Shot Mr. Burns, because it was like Simpsons Crime Files. So it was like that one, and then the one where like Sideshow Bob tries to blow up Selma, like, you know, where he marries her and stuff like that.
Yes.
But no, you're right though. Like, obviously as a kid, I had not seen Cape Fear or knew anything about it.
No, same.
But now, obviously, I couldn't
get the reference now.
Well, I couldn't watch it though, because I'd just be laughing thinking about like the rake scene and stuff. Because it's even the same music.
Stepping on the rakes.
It's the da.
That noise. But the best episode of with Silent Bob isn't when Silent Bob's the bad guy in it. It's with
Silent Bob, Sideshow Bob.
Sorry, I'm talking about Kevin Smith there. Well, Kevin Smith. I'm sure Jay and Silent Bob were in an episode of The Simpsons at one point.
Probably.
But
the
one where his brother, was it Sideshow Mel?
Niles!
When it was voiced by Niles,
yeah.
And like I said, it was like, I was going to blow up the dam, and Sideshow Bob stopped him and stuff like that. And then the police go, take him away, boys. And it's good. No, it wasn't me. It's always Bob. Take him away. Damn you, Wiggum, you incompetent buffoon.
So that one's really interesting, because like he did turn it round. Like in that episode, he was doing everything right to stay out of prison, and then that just sent him back to being a bad guy again, because he's like, you know, I can't win. Like he always do a really good like subversion of like regular stories.
Did they kill off
Well?
Did they kill him off, or is he still alive?
Oh no!
I couldn't tell you. I know there was like I've seen a more recent one, but
I would assume he's still alive, like because they've had so many recurring episodes, it wouldn't make sense to get rid.
Because there's very few characters that they've killed off, haven't they? Because they killed off comic book guy, Hank, the psychiatrist they killed off, and Maud Flanders.
And Troy McClure.
Did they kill off Troy?
Not in episode.
Because Phil Hartman died, and they wouldn't replace his voice.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, that Bleeding Gums episode's quite good though. That's another one that hits you in the feels. Even though it has the stupid like Mufasa and the Darth Vader in the clouds as well.
Mrs. Krabappel as well.
Krabappel, yeah, they have a tendency. They have a tendency for shelving their characters if the voice actors passed on, who they genuinely loved. And Phil Hartman was such a huge character, like on Simpsons, on anything he actually did. So yeah, they shelved him. And Mrs. Krabappel, she's famous for us for The Simpsons, but she's more famous for Americans for the likes of like their TV sitcoms from back in the 70s. She's very famous for that. So yeah, they shelved the characters that they've lost and loved.
I'm getting called out in the chat now. They're saying comic book guy's not dead, so I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm sure he was, but I could be wrong.
I think Lunch Lady Doris sadly is not with us anymore. Voice actor wise. Yeah. Grease me up, woman.
Sorry, I don't know if he died in this show, but he died in the comics.
Oh, okay.
Oh, of what?
Simpsons comics?
Yeah, there was a Simpsons comics.
There's thousands.
What did he die of?
I don't know. I don't know. Just says the death of the comic book guy is like a story arc in the comics.
Okay.
But talking about like say other things as well, like regarding the Simpsons, like good one to punch on is like say the comics that came out, because I did actually have the Simpsons comics earlier on. Like the Treehouse of Horror ones again was great issues, and I used to love like trying to replicate the artwork by drawing them myself. But they had a long line of computer games, some more successful than others, shall we say.
You're going to have to re-jog my memory, because I do remember having a Simpsons game, but I cannot, for the life of us, remember what it was on.
I mean, they were friggin' awful to start with.
There was one called Krusty's Funhouse where you had to get the mice to the end, and it was like Lemons.
Yes.
Did you ever play Lemmings?
Yes.
Yes.
Krusty's Funhouse, but you had to get the mice to the little mouse hole, and it was really hard. It was like a legitimately good game though.
No, a lot of the Simpsons ones are very hard. I know. I think I've told the story of my troubles and trials with Bart versus the Space Mutants on me Amstrad, with a green monitor where you had to kill everything that was pink.
Put the X-ray specs on.
Yeah, you had to find all the Space Mutants and everything that was pink, but then you were like, wait there, I've got a green monitor, this doesn't work.
And I'm colorblind, so like F that.
Was it Bart's Nightmare that came out for the NES as well, where you used to go in like all different dreams and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I have not.
I had a Game Boy game which was like Bart versus what was it? It was like Gladiators. It was like a fake Gladiators thing. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was terrible. You just played like weird like gladiator games, like the TV show, and it was like super hard. It was all like based on like button tapping or like puzzles and that, and I hated it.
I know, and like so
I think it was Bob versus the Juggernauts. I think that was
yes, I remember that. But I was going to say more recent, but I think it was PlayStation 2, wasn't it? Simpsons Hit and Run. That came out.
Yeah.
That was very Grand Theft Auto with the Simpsons.
Yeah. I never played that, but I watched my brother play that a lot. That looked like it looked like Grand Theft Auto, but with the Simpsons.
Yeah, and it was like they had Road Rage before that, which was Crazy Taxi, but the Simpsons.
Crazy Taxi.
They are supposed to be bringing back, like remaking one of the hit and run games, like for the next gens as well. So there's talk of them re-releasing that with a HD version.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't hold up super well because it's all a lot. It's very based on like time missions, like old Grand Theft Auto was, where it's like, oh, you got 2 minutes to drive around here and collect all the stuff. So like they'd probably have to. Hopefully, they would do some work and make it a bit easier to retry stuff. But yeah, I mean, exploring Springfield is something I think all of us had wanted to do. Like wanted a set map and be like, okay, that's where Moe's Tavern is supposed to be, because they just changed time in the show. Because sometimes it's near the school inexplicably, like so a few doors down. It's like that's not right. But yeah, like there was also this weird thing I always wanted but never got as a kid. That was like virtual Springfield, which I think was just basically like an interactable like map for like the PC, but I never had a computer that was good enough for it.
I feel like I've just seen Lee. Yeah, Lee's just mentioned that in the chat, and I was like, "Are you making that up?"
No, but I remember.
Not. Sorry, Lee.
No, like say when the games come out, like there were always like the big things, and I know even on the like your mobile phone, the tapped out game was quite popular for quite a while. Because I remember I just used to know a cheat code to get all the donuts, so you didn't have to pay for all the extras type thing.
Nice. I did play that for a while, but it was pretty rotten with like timers and stuff. I just remembered one of the worst ones, Simpsons Wrestling for the PlayStation. It was so bad.
Why do I feel like I remember that?
Because it was in every bargain bin at the time.
Going back to the actual show type thing. So because I know, like, say the family, like unit type thing. But who was your favorite character? Would you say outside of the Simpson family?
Oh God,
Principal Skinner.
But is that his real name?
Really?
No, but you're not allowed to talk about that again, or you'll be banished. I just love how boring he is, and like I think the writers like really picked up on that, and they're like, it's hilarious. Like the more boring things we can write for this character in this like crazy world. But obviously, steamed hams comes to mind immediately with Skinner as well.
You've been trying to get us to play that all time.
It's one of the all-time scenes.
It literally is. It was my desktop background for 3 years. Just Skinner with the tray of steamed hams.
Steamed hams.
Kind of like, I know we're going back to last week's episode, jump the shark moments, but they kind of did that with Skinner as well when they kind of said that Skinner wasn't Skinner. Like, I know we make the reference where the kind of writers decided, Skinner was in Nam unit with the real Skinner who they thought was dead, and then when he came back,
it's Don Draper.
Mm-hmm.
This is how progression of the Simpsons have been able to foreshadow everything.
So like the Mad Men writers probably thought they were making an original story.
That is literally the story of Don Draper. He takes the identity, spoilers by the way for Mad Men, he takes the identity of somebody else who he was in war or like a war with or battle with, and goes back and he's that person. And it's the Principal Skinner storyline.
There's an episode of South Park where they literally spend the whole episode talking about how the Simpsons did it, and they're just like, "There's nothing we can do that the Simpsons hasn't already done."
Yeah.
So let's not worry about it.
True. Like it's just like you might as well not care, because yes, the Simpsons will have done that plot at some point. They have 34 seasons. It has been covered. Like they've thought of it all. So like you watch shows now and you're just like, holy shit, this is the plot of an episode of The Simpsons from like, the 90s. It's mad when you go back and like see some of it.
Well, it's not just that. It's like things that are actually predicted. Like the most famous one is the President Trump. Like I said, they supposedly and hinted at that was going to happen like years and years and years ago. And then when it
didn't have a President Lisa Simpson to save us.
Yes, unfortunately.
But my sister, when I mentioned to my sister, because her and her fiance, I should say, because they're getting married soon. I was taking them home the other day, and now they started quoting stuff from The Simpsons because they'd been watching early episodes, and there's a pair of them are pissing their pants laughing in the back of the car while they're doing these quotes. And I said, "Oh, it's really funny actually. This Sunday's podcast all about The Simpsons." Michaela was like, "Are you going to talk about how fucking spookily like accurate they are with the world and its events?" And I was like, "Well, I only know the Trump one," and she was like, Google it.
There is a minefield of the stuff that the Simpsons did get right. But who was your favorite character, Sonia, outside of the family?
I I don't know. I kind of when you first asked Jake, I was thinking like Willie, sorry, from the school.
Oh,
But
Willie.
the more I think about it, the more I want to say Radio Wolfcastle because I just absolutely love all of his scenes.
Is this like for a very like Arnie radioactive man type thing?
Yeah, the goggles, they do nothing.
Wolfcastle, your shoes are untied. He just spends the entire night looking down at his shoes so he can get away.
But no, probably mine was Ralph Wiggum, just because I love the innocence and stupidity behind it as well.
Mine was Millhouse.
I'm glad you picked the dud, Millhouse.
Yeah. Absolutely. Poindexter, I think he's absolutely great. But it would have if Paul hadn't have picked that one. No, I was tossing and turning between Millhouse and Ralph Wiggum because he's hilarious. I choose you.
What I love about
danger.
What I love about Millhouse as well is that his dad's just like a grown-up version of him.
Yes,
like it's in a very
difference.
In a very like cartoon way. But yeah, they're both amazing.
Dignity.
There's a door. Use it.
We had at my old job, like when I used to work at the other place, with one of my good friends,
the
Sean.
Factory.
With my good friend Sean, who used to watch the podcast, and I used to just insult because he wouldn't come on the podcast. We used to have a Millhouse rule because we used to have like insults we were allowed to say to each other. But Sean did have a little bit of a look of Millhouse to him, where I hate saying this. Well, don't. It's funny. He's got like an illness where he should be really dead. To be fair, he's living past his life expectancy. So when but he's not too well. His skin goes a bit yellow, and he wears glasses like Millhouse, and he's like really short as well. So we had the Millhouse rule, so I wasn't allowed to reference him as Millhouse anymore because he used to actually get a little bit upset.
No.
But now you just got and told it the whole podcast.
I'm glad you followed the rule.
But yes, but like such, I think I touched on it before. Like the whole Simpson universe, all the characters were so well rounded and had their own like time to shine at times. Even like Otto or like the Mayor, was it Mayor Quimby?
Mayor Quimby.
All of them are like degenerates, or just like worst of the worst of like humanity, but all of them like had redeeming features where you kind of love. But like like the continue. I can't get the words out now. How they always try to keep things like, if something happened in an episode, like we used to reference on it like a few episodes later, like the Millhouse's
continuity.
That's the word I was trying to say. They're like the Millhouse's mum and dad splitting up and stuff, and how she was getting all these massive hunks and
and he got a racing car for a bed.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I sleep in a bed with my wife.
That was a very like harsh look at like like divorced dad living. We've skipped over a family member at least. I know we haven't talked about everyone, but Grandpa Simpson is legendary.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's so many good moments and rambling stories.
He changes so much throughout the seasons as well, because like I think his introduction is in the episode that Sam talked about, the Bart and the Bully, where he's like portrayed as like the toughest Simpson, and he's like this extra army thing, but he teaches valuable lessons as well. Like when he's talking about like treating soldiers, you can make them march off a cliff, you can take them this, but you can never strike them for whatever reason and stuff like that. So and it's like giving them these lessons, but and he's also like a dick to Homer as well when he's hitting them with the water balloons, and then later on he becomes this like kind of senile, sniveling, like say old bloke that's just looking for affection that can't get it anywhere.
Yeah, or he's like the same as Homer, but like thinks he knows everything, whereas Homer doesn't care that he doesn't know anything.
But yes. So, what other characters would you say like stand out in your memory as well? I know this could be on this for a few hours here.
Definitely, Willie the groundskeeper. He is fucking hilarious.
There's so many jokes about the girls loving Willie, but we'll not go there.
Chief Wiggum. He's so funny. I think the adult in me finds him absolutely hilarious. Yeah. The child, not so much.
What about flipping it on the side? Was there any characters that you didn't like or you didn't quite get? I know that's going to be a hard one for you there.
I really hate Ned Flanders' children, but I love Ned Flanders.
Oh, Rod and Todd.
Yeah, I kind of buy them too, but Ned is fantastic. The Streetcar Named Desire episode is just brilliant. Stella!
I mean, I suppose when I was a kid, I didn't like Marge, but that's just because, like, she's, like the anchor for the family, like the one who's like, Homer, don't do the crazy thing, like at first. I don't think they keep that up like as it goes on.
I was probably it's a little bit similar. I didn't like Lisa at the start because I thought Lisa was quite boring.
Do with each other garbage face.
Sonia's looks like she's in deep in thought there.
I know.
Sonia's choice.
I can't think of anyone that I dislike. Like, I was going to make a joke about Mole Man.
No, we're all gay for Mole Man.
Gay for Mole Man. Like, I can't think of anyone that I would say I hate as a character. There's no person where I'm like, oh, this person.
And that's quite interesting to say that as well, though, because with the cast list, like character list as big as The Simpsons as well, there could have been like characters that you thought, oh, just useless or pointless. Like there's ones that you don't like or annoy you for certain reasons, but that's the role. That's why they were put in there. Like Reverend Lovejoy and his wife used, I wanted to punch them in the face, especially his wife. Think of the children.
But on reflection, like Lovejoy's like apathy towards like religion and Ned is like hilarious when you're a bit older and you can appreciate what they were going for.
Yeah.
Like, hello, Ned. Like every time he has a problem.
It's that voice.
We all felt the same. We all felt the pain, and we all wanted to ignore Ned for sometimes you just wanted to shake him at times as well. Just just be horrible to Homer. But
that one where he finally snaps is amazing though. They made us wait all those years for it.
Yeah.
When he found out his parents were beatniks or something as well, wasn't it? I don't know what to do with Ned, man.
We're out of ideas, man.
What is it? Did he open up with like a left-handed scissor shop?
Yeah.
Because
my sister was buzzing her tits off at that because my sister's and my mum are left-handed. So she was like, "Why isn't this real?" It was like, "Because you're abnormal."
We all thought Sammy was going to grow up to the crazy cat lady as well.
Oh, I am the crazy cat lady. Let's not.
When she comes running out the house throwing cats at people.
That is going to be me. It's my future, like right there. Like I have no issue with that whatsoever.
When you think about it, like that's a pretty good testament to like the writing early on that none of us really hate a character outright.
No.
Because, like you say, there was definitely ones designed to be annoying, like Professor Frink and stuff, but that was what they were supposed to be doing.
I don't get us wrong. Like, I don't hate Ned's children. They were just
to say you don't like children. It's okay. It's fine.
I'm just gonna move on from that because I know fine well if I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna put my foot in. So.
But yes, it's thankful. Like I know we mentioned it as well because if we didn't have the show like Simpsons, we wouldn't have had South Park. We wouldn't have had Family Guy, right. American Dad, and we wouldn't have the amazing show that is Futurama as well. And I'm going to say a little bit controversial here because I know we are doing a Futurama episode later on. I love Futurama more than I love The Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean The Simpsons good writers jumped ship to Futurama, so I can understand why.
I think Futurama has a lot of things like what I was saying earlier on as well about the emotion and the impactful episodes.
Yeah,
that went harder.
Futurama has those too, the Fry's Dog episode and stuff like that. And I don't want to get sidetracked, but there are episodes of Futurama that do the exact same thing to me, and that's just good writing.
Yeah.
I think Paul, you were saying that like The Simpsons like kind of isn't a show for you anymore, but also like will probably never stop. I think like that's part of it. Like the writers at some point obviously did think, because like Conan O'Brien was a writer for the longest time and just quit eventually. That there probably is a certain point where you can't think of anything else to do. And like
You've
some of
done it
the
all.
solution was like, let's go to space where we're like unshackled by any realism. And I think like it probably will just keep going like that, where different people jump on, have their like ideas, and then eventually you're gonna burn out because there's only so much you can do with like
That
a weird American family.
that hasn't already been done before.
It's got to be getting harder for them.
So hard to create them storylines that hasn't already been done.
But that's the
I
thing, though.
wonder
But
if that's why they have the celebrities on, where it is an episode about the celebrity themselves, because they've got the money to get the celebrity, and it'll be an episode that they've not done before.
that's
So actually,
So that
Plot makes
adds
itself.
to the question as well. Is the reason why they keep going just purely money now, or because it's a difficult one? Because I watched well, this year was a bit different because they did a different take on like the Trio of Horrors. It was more based on like a full episode on recreating it. But the years before, like I didn't even understand what the Trio House of Horror was about, because that's the one I would always still go about. And I was like watching it going, this doesn't make sense anymore. It's like not even like full stories in like the little gaps. And that's when I've watched the episodes of The Simpsons as well. The episode doesn't make sense. It's just loads of random acts or random jokes thrown in. But again, I know we talked about last week, and Charlotte pointed out that I'm too old for The Simpsons. It's not really meant to be for me. So that's where The Simpsons keeps regenerating. It's doing the humour for the youth of the day, a new audience that probably's like, if they watch like things like Cheers or Frasier, they might not appreciate as much as I did back then. Well, Frasier's just a godsend, so anyone who doesn't like Frasier can fuck off, but still.
I mean, again, though, you're saying a Simpsons joke,
Yeah.
like where the Grandpa Simpsons, like, I used to be with it and hip, and then they changed what with it and hip was, and it'll happen to you. And they're like, yeah, right, old man.
But it did. I
did.
Hands on heart, I have not watched The Simpsons in God knows how many years. And I think I watched the film movie because I had nothing else to do. And I've got to admit, I found it absolutely hilarious.
I
really
didn't.
did.
I know the film got panned, but I didn't think it was as bad as what people made out.
Yeah.
It was weird because like they obviously put like way more effort in, because they were like, oh, this is going to be like a 90 minutes that we need to put all the best like money and stuff into. But apparently the story was different as well. Like they wanted Hank Scorpio to be the bad guy and kind of bring that back.
No,
and there was
that would have been so good.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like President Wolfcastle, but it was like, oh no, it was maybe supposed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it was like they did, I don't know, there was some weird stuff coming in Aaron with the story. So I think a lot of rumors got out first as well from like the diehard fans were like, it's gonna be this, and then it wasn't, and then people were disappointed. But it's fine. I've only seen it once and then never really thought about it ever again.
I think if I watched it now, totally different experience. But watching it in the cinema, I'm sorry, it's so basic of a joke, but Spider Pig had me absolutely cracked up.
Yeah. No,
and it's so basic, and it still made my funny bone go off.
No, as a premise, I absolutely don't think it's as bad. Like, I was shocked, like, when that came out, people were just lambasting it, completely, like, tearing it from pillar to post. I'll be honest, I watched the new Bob's Burgers movies, and that was 10 times worse than what the Simpsons movie was. At least it kept a story, it kept you engrossed. Fair enough, they had a bigger budget, so some of the shots or angles didn't quite feel like The Simpsons. That was probably the only off-putting for me.
It was like CGI, wasn't it? Like a bunch of it.
Yeah.
Like the dome and everything, yeah.
But as a film, as a Simpsons, I think that was what I remembered as a kid as well, because it was silly. It had a story that went from A to B. I didn't care if it had no twists or turns and stuff. It told the story.
and it was so shiny and it was so bright and it was so like clear and like I could make everything out. I just love the silly. It gets to a certain point where you're like, I just need something silly. And that does it for us, and the Muppets movie does it for us. That film just cracks me right up.
Wait, which Muppets
Unreal.
movie?
The you know when they did the big comeback a few years ago?
Oh, Mutton's Take Manhattan, was it?
Jason
Oh, no,
Segel.
no, sack that one off.
No, the one
Really old, that
Sheldon.
one. But I do love Muppets Take Manhattan. But no, it was like a few years ago. It was like Jason Segel was in it.
Yeah.
Jason Segel.
Yeah.
And did
Yeah.
it have Sheldon at the end?
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
Sheldon was, am I a Muppet? Or a
Yeah,
man?
or a man.
Yeah, but that level of silly, like, really cracks me up. Like, I'm laughing inside just thinking about it.
We need to
I'm
do a
laughing
Muppets
already.
episode and get Donna on and
Yes,
just see
we
her
do.
Not a
freak out.
comedy.
Fun fact, right? The songs in the Muppets movie were written by one half of the Flight of the Conchords duo, which is
Ah.
why
Isn't
they're so funny
surprises.
and catchy.
Yeah.
Is it Jermaine Clement by any chance? Because
I
does
think it's
not
it's the
surprise
other one.
me.
It's
Is
the other
it?
one. Yeah,
The little one.
the little one whose name I never remember.
Can we just appreciate the Muppets Take Manhattan, though, because it gave us Rizzo. That was the first time they introduced the rat.
Oh, was it? Oh, I love
love
Rizzo.
Honestly, Muppets Take Manhattan is one of my favorites. I love it. I think Joan Rivers is in it as well. I love that.
There's
film
also
so
been in
much.
The Simpsons.
Yes.
Come full circle. Come full circle.
Yeah, it's back
There
to
you
the
go. What a
Yeah.
way to bring it round, Jake.
But would like say, because I know I do look at the Simpsons through like nostalgia, like rose tinted glasses. Would you have the balls to go back and try and watch it from the start again, or
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
not
I would
scared of
stop at a
anything.
point, but I've done it. Probably like a few years ago. I started buying the DVD box sets because they're cheap now because nobody cares about DVD box sets
Yay.
anymore.
I did pick up a
Um,
few at the car boot sale at see 'em a few times.
Yeah.
But-
I think
but
like they
not
still
original.
hold up. Oh, nice. Dodgy up north.
How could you get a dodgy Simpsons DVD?
Because it
We don't
used to be a
wanna
car
pay for
boot sale, and they used to sell knockoff DVDs, but the Simpsons box sets only used to come out, so they used to copy the box sets and do their own print. So you used to buy. I've done that with Friends and Buffy as well.
You remember there was a really bad Simpsons box set where, like, to actually get to the menu, you had to press the button and it would like spin all the heads around, and they had to line up on the right bodies and stuff. It would make you do that every time you loaded the DVD up.
What were you buying?
DVD menus used to be like a law unto their own. They used to either be like super annoying or like non-existent.
Oh, just take forever to get onto the actual
Yeah.
menu. Yeah.
And there used to be ones where they used to be like try to be clever as well, where they had Easter eggs in. There's still DVDs
Oh,
there,
yeah.
and where if you have to press like right so many times, and it brought up an extra thing where you can see a hidden episode or a hidden
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that wouldn't.
There was loads of them on the Futurama DVDs, I think,
Yes.
and Bo Selector. I remember going around
I
finding
used
random
to-
clips.
I used to own all the Futuramas, and I remember that. But
Mhm.
you know what? I'm so impatient. Like if I press a button, I expect whatever I've just pressed to work right there and then. Like just
Yeah.
do it.
You don't want to
I-
spin a puzzle around with all the Simpsons
No.
heads.
That's
like
a lot.
3
Life's too
times.
short. I just
That's a lot of pressure for your husband there, poor bloke.
Oh god. I never seem to let myself down, do I? I always manage to say the wrong thing. I'm so glad he's not here.
But yes, I'm lost now. I'm gone now.
The Simpsons.
Simpsons, yes, but no.
But yeah, I think The Simpsons was one of the biggest like effects on my sense of humor that's never kind of gone away.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't watch it anymore, but I think in those like formative years, like it became like my style of what I think's funny, and nothing's like ever really replaced that or like, you know, done one better. Because
Mhm.
like I've watched all the Family Guys and American Dads, but it never like really felt like that's for me type of thing. Never
No.
felt
Yeah.
the same thought went into it a lot of the time.
See,
Or
I'm,
was
Here's-
trying to be more annoying. I don't
So-
know.
So-
I'm not really there with that because South Park is my thing, because I remember when that came out in the 90s and I was on that shit so fast. Like I needed everything there and then, like especially when the first came out on VHS, but I wasn't really like that with The Simpsons.
just a question as well about The Simpsons as well, especially like say with the vast characters you've got and with everything that you get these days with spin-offs. How would you do a spin-off from The Simpsons, or would you do like a separate character, or like how would you do it?
I would do the life of Ned Flanders.
But before he got married and stuff, like the younger years.
The life, loves, and journeys of Ned Flanders.
Again, they've done this joke.
Oh my god!
Everybody loves Ned Flanders, not me. I have no answer to this question other than just, I don't know, do like young Homer and Marge and everyone would hate it and it would get cancelled after one season.
It seems to me we're getting young Rook, young Sheldon, so young Homer and Marge.
That's, yep.
What about you, Sonia?
I would do a spin-off where it's actually a show which Rainier Wolfcaster like stars in.
Right.
So like you'd be watching his show,
McBain.
yeah, McBain, or something, just like something brand new, but he's the main character. So it's a spin-off, but it's also something that could completely go any direction plot-wise because it's a plot within a plot.
No, I like that one because my idea was a little bit similar, where it's not like an actual Simpsons character, but it's like a story within. Actually, have a real Itchy and Scratchy show where it's like Tom and Jerry, just like a 5-6 minute episode each week, where you just see what happens to Itchy and Scratchy, or how the mouse gets the cat each week. I think that would work. But it's got to
be like really fucked up ways of getting each other.
Yeah, like
it's got to have like that proper horror element. Lee in the chat says the Shelbyville spin-off.
The Shelbyville, oh,
those
damn lemon thieves.
No, the lemon tree was haunted. That's why they got rid of it.
Dear me.
I love that.
But I think, like I said, it could be done, especially with like the range of characters that you that's there. It's just how it's like taking the focus away from The Simpsons. But I think they would have to leave Springfield. I think, as you said, Lee said with Shelbyville, it would have to be like one of the characters leaving and getting in a new town. And like say, even if they do
it just you're just making it sound like the Joey like spin-off show.
That
like honestly, everyone would hate it. Like you can't do it.
True. Or even just to have let Bart and Lisa grow up. Let them be older.
No.
I know. Like how old have they got to be now? Like they got to be in their 30s at least.
They're fucked with Nancy Cartwright dies. So.
Yeah, no. That's.
I think we are just like. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to wait for the Simpsons cast to die before it'll end.
Do you reckon? Do you honestly think it'll go that long?
Did you?
Yeah.
You know
they're going to stop it. They've got no reason to.
I think Matt Groen did an interview before. I think you probably might even know this, like the story. He was asked, how does The Simpsons end, or does he have an idea how The Simpsons end? He says, yes, we've got a plan. And basically, the last episode will tie in, so it like loops back around to the first episode, like with the Santa's Little Helper. So it's supposed to be kind of finished, so it kind of like Final Destinations, that shit. You know, the last Final Destination is the people from the last film getting on the plane and then seeing people get off. So they're going to do something similar with The Simpsons, where the last episode ties in with the first episode, so then it's just a constant loop, so it can never really end.
Yeah.
Right. Like the Mighty Max cartoon.
Yeah.
That's cool though, because that means one day we'll all sit down to watch like the last Christmas episode of The Simpsons, and hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, they did have some different. Like I said, some of the Christmas episodes were about like what was the toy that came out that was terrifying. It was like Funzo, the piss take out of the Furbies and stuff like that. Where like the
Chucky, Furby, and Teddy Ruxpin all in like one.
See, that sounds amazing.
That's one thing they didn't bring out. I'm surprised they didn't actually make a Funzo. Or is there a Funzo out there that you can get your hands on?
I bet you there's some fuckers made one.
I feel like there's a lack of Simpsons merch that's like actually stuff from the show, and it's just weird like real life objects with Simpsons,
like a monkey paw.
Yeah, that would be good.
So I said some fucker has made one. Someone on Etsy has one.
All right. And what about because I know they've brought out drinks as well, because you can get Duff beer. Have they brought out a Flamin' More?
Where it's just cough syrup and all the bits from all your alcohol bottles on the shelf, and then light it on fire. For some reason, fire made it good.
I'm just saying,
you
if
can
you
get the recipe, you can actually get the recipe. 1 ounce brandy, 1 ounce peppermint schnapps, 1 ounce soul gin, 1 ounce blackberry liquor, 1 ounce strawberry juice, and 1.5 proof rum.
So we're going to try
cough
this.
syrup?
It's not there. I'm sorry.
Oh,
it's not real, but yeah, that's how you make a flaming mo.
Goodwill saying the
I'd rather not.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, they do have that place in Universal where you can go to like the Quickie Mart and Moe's Tavern and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really want
get real flaming Moe's and stuff.
I really want a Homer donut. The
Yeah.
big pink Homer donut. Honestly, it looks amazing. It's massive as well.
They're not that nice.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's just like very bready. I don't think Americans.
We love bread up north.
Yeah, it was tasted like it had the texture of like a cinnamon bun rather than like a donut. It wasn't light.
So it wasn't like. And what is the top like? Not.
Well, to be fair, like it's Universal, so it's probably been sitting there for a few days, so it wasn't fresh.
It's probably like, God
but
damn it!
How crazy is it that
my
like
dreams.
how that in the old days of The Simpsons they could have like a grounded storyline where like Homer accidentally dyes his shirt pink, and that's like a whole episode involving involving him like getting made fun of at work. I mean, I suppose that does end with the mental hospital, but. And then nowadays, you could never get away with like a grounded story of things that might happen to a normal family, like in The Simpsons. It has to be like they've just like accelerated to like a crazy level.
Yeah,
like Homer goes to space. But wasn't Buzz Aldrin in that episode as well? Wasn't it?
I believe so.
But like, say some of the stuff that they did, like I kind of believe they done like what they did with what's he called? Stephen Hawkins, like, and apparently he had the best time on that episode as well, and he loved the toy figure that they brought out of him because you can actually buy a little Stephen Hawkins figure.
That's amazing.
From The Simpsons.
He had one of the greatest sense of humors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised like he had such a blast on there, and I'm not surprised like a toy was like. He fucking loved the fact that there's a toy of him. I just love that. I'm sure they had that toy on Big Bang.
He showed up on Futurama as well. He was like one of the reasons that, like him and the Dungeons and Dragons creator and Deep Blue, the chess computer, were the ones that like knew about Fry going that he needed to go forward or back in time at that precise moment. It was weird.
So I know we've talked quite a lot about different things and stuff. Is there anything you want to add that like Psycho might have missed today? Because I know we've been jumping all over the place here. Sorry.
Monorail,
yeah.
Monorail.
I think that was Phil Hartman as well,
general,
wasn't it?
Actually, just the songs. Like, there's so many episodes with such good songs. Like unreal songs. Like that one, the Monorail, or B. Oh, see my vest.
My vest.
That was ultimate Burnsy though. That like so that episode where he went all Cruella de Vil type thing.
Doing a Streetcar Named Desire as a musical as well.
Yeah. Oh, that was hilarious! Like, I didn't know she could fly. No, like, I think it's to represent her madness, descendant of madness. That's such a good musical joke.
Yep.
Yeah, who put the spring in Springfield, obviously.
Yes.
Who put the spring in Stockholm?
when they realised there's been a brothel in the town the whole time.
and Bart's right in the door.
Yeah.
And you see like some like grandpa walking in and then walking straight back out
doing that
again.
hat thing, yeah. That's a famous GIF / meme. Yeah. Also, the Homer coming through the hedge like the T-1000 when he's trying to be Ned's friend.
there is one moment in The Simpsons that makes my mum nearly physically sick, and it's where Homer's eyes crust over.
Right.
Because he's been staring for so long. My mum, if you mention it, she literally like cringes. She hates that so much.
Yeah, because he gets laser eye surgery or something.
And he has his eyes. Yeah, because my mum got it done and she understood what it meant.
Goodwill singing in the chat as well. Who needs the quickie marked? I do.
Oh yeah, there's so many musical numbers.
He lied to us through song.
But it's crazy. I don't think there'll be another. I know we've talked a little bit like similar when we mentioned Friends as well, because Friends basically changed the mold for American sitcoms. But I don't think anything would come close to the impact that The Simpsons has had on pop culture, or even, like, say, on marketing and stuff. I would say that The Simpsons is probably more well known than any other TV show or product in the world, than even Star Wars, I would say.
I totally 100% agree with you.
It's worldwide. Like it's even like you see like on those like funny knockoff merchandise, like where it'll just be like, "Don't eat my cow, man." But like it's still Bart and it's still the Simpsons. That character exists everywhere.
That's an interesting thing, actually. Like there's actually like different countries obviously have their own cast, and like people absolutely love like the Spanish Homer voice actor. I think he might have passed away like not too long ago. But like it's amazing that like they don't just like overdub the sound or anything. They've actually got like the full cast that does it in like a bunch of different countries.
Authentic accent as well, like something that they can. There's also a TikTok trend that I don't know how old it is, and maybe I just caught the end of it, but it's a gender reveal. And obviously the parents don't know what it is, and it splashes out yellow, and you see a Homer Simpson in the background who like sinks away.
Dear me. But as I said, I think funny. With The Simpsons as well, it's crept into every little avenue. Like everything has referenced The Simpsons, from music, TV shows, movies, like other shows. I know they did like a Family Guy crossover, didn't they? Or am I did I make that up as well?
I think that. No, I think they have done.
And Bart did. And like Bart did show up in that South Park episode, even though it was just like, you know, their version of Bart.
Rick and Morty as well. Like, isn't there an early episode of Rick and Morty where they ended up in the couch opening scene?
Yeah,
I think
so many cartoons have crossed over with it because Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
They did it all first. So like every cartoon knows that if they're going to be successful or they're reaching semi-success, that they owe that to.
It's like almost like a doffing of a cap to The Simpsons.
Yeah,
like
work.
There's
no point. There's no point working against them because we're never going to beat what they've already probably done. Everything we've done, we might as well just work with them.
But I think like Simpsons had a lot more heart than like Rick and Morty and like Family Guy.
I agree totally. The early Simpsons, but
I don't know what's been going on sort of in parallel with those shows, but. Like, I think, like, that's what kind of kept people watching The Simpsons was, like, it had, like, the little moments of, like, heart or, like the care and attention where South Park and sort of Family Guy just felt like who can be the most offensive this week type of thing. Like, but yeah, I think that's why Simpsons is, like, hit home because it was the first, but it also did it, like, so well, even though it had no, like, contemporaries, I guess, to draw from. It still somehow did it.
Definitely. And I do hope that it will continue, but if they do decide to end The Simpsons, it will be a sad day, but I hope I'm still around to watch it because I think it'll be like one of those things where everyone will have to watch the final episode of The Simpsons. I know, like, what they used to call like water cooler moments, it'll be one of the things that everyone talks about, or everyone has to see to experience.
Like I think everyone of our generation, especially, because if we were there from the start, we want to be there at the end.
Yeah.
It's like The Simpsons is taking on this like almost different life on the internet as well. Like there's like it's called boat posting, but it's basically like shit posting for The Simpsons. But like because everyone knows the jokes so well, people have gone like the next layer up and created like jokes within jokes, like inputting the wrong character into like an old classic joke. I don't know. I think it's for people with brains like me and Sonia who know all of this stuff. I don't know if like someone else looks at it that would get
stupid, it's fine.
It's just too many layers deep. Like you've got to have it like stuck in your brain.
We're not deep though, Sam. We don't like it deep.
Oh, okay.
But I love like the creativity that people have like sprung up with it, like just quite recently on the internet in the last few years. But
yeah,
it's awesome.
Cool. So yes, so I think I've got much more to add to this.
It's such a it's nice to like reminisce and talk about like what we remember and you know what makes it special to us. But it's not a massive talking point. Like we can't go mega deep into the Simpsons and really, dissect what's going on there.
I think it's never going to be who shot Mr. Burns again, is it? Like that's gone now, and all we can do is talk about like what we loved about it, not what we love about it now.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's historical now. It's like a kind of like a. It's one of the seven wonders.
It's one that it's like what Americans go talking about Nam. You weren't there, man. You don't know.
You weren't there in the beginning.
No, you're right. Like you could never like explain that to somebody, like what it felt like to sort of be there.
Definitely. Like I said, it's just making us more excited for when they talk about the Futurama episode as well, because like I said, it's like warming up. I know, like I said, the most recent thing that we're getting is the Disenchanted as well by the same makers.
I hated that. Well, I didn't hate it, but I was like, this is like a nothing show. I'm gonna never watch it again.
Maybe because it was like
give me Futurama.
Yes.
Yeah. Futurama, the same on Futurama, like as the Simpsons, like. I just stopped watching Futurama at a certain point, and I was like, "All right, that's my Futurama. There is no more after that."
I used to own that. You used to own them all on DVD, and used to just literally, like, it would be the what goes on before we go to sleep.
Yeah,
and that was such a long time ago. I generally can't remember half the stuff that happened.
But that's the good thing about these type of shows. You don't have to like watch it all because they're never like a one continuous story. It usually is just like joke of the week sort of thing.
That's probably why it absolutely break your heart.
No, I think we've done well to discuss the Simpsons. The only thing we could do in like the future is like try and do a top 5 Simpsons episode, which would probably break a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I think it would.
That would be hard. That would be really hard.
Well, you're coming back on it, so just get to thinking.
You haven't had homework yet, Sonia.
You've not been on a top 5 episode, have you? No, the top 5.
You've got to experience it once.
Just gonna have a look through the list. Which ones have you signed up for?
Buffy and Always Sunny.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
the Buffy one's going to be interesting.
The Always Sunny one's going to be mint.
Excited about it.
I'm scared of that one, actually. Like, see, because it's like, how do we not offend anyone by talking about it? It's Always Sunny.
You can't. It's as simple as that. You just can't, and you've got to just talk about it as you've seen it. That's apart from the Lethal Weapon episodes. That's the because I'm not getting into that, but we can talk about what's on Netflix.
Yeah, I almost made a joke though. I was like, nope, stop yourself, go.
Yeah.
But yes. So yeah, thank you.
This week.
So I think I might be playing a little bit more Last of Us tomorrow, and I think Goodwill's going to join us at some point to mock us from how bad I am.
Give you stealth tips.
I can't play stealth. Like you're supposed to be quiet, and I just kept on running in, and getting killed, and getting annoyed and screaming.
Wow, how did you play Batman? Like
that's what the TV show's like, isn't it? Like Joel just runs around screaming about clickers.
But
it's just Paul controlling him.
No, possibly. And I know we are hoping to try and get an extra episode this Friday, but it depends if the people can do it. If they can, we'll see what I can do. We've got a space empty, just to see what we can do. I know Sunday's episode is a top 5. It's top 5 British movies.
So glad you mentioned that because I didn't know. Oh my God, I've got to do homework for this, and I've got to do homework for me Game of Thrones one. It's a lot of homework. I'm nearly 40. This should be ended by now.
But the episode after that as well is going to be, I think, might even get emotional at times because we're going to do top 5 favorite songs. So that's going to be extremely difficult.
I'm so looking forward to that episode, and yes. There will be tears from my end.
The monorail song is going to be everyone's number one.
Yes.
Thanks, Jake.
Jake, have you got anything planned for this week? I don't know. You
and
Goodwill run your own little Wild West type situation.
It sounds pretty packed, if I'm honest, this week. So maybe we'll just leave it for a bit. We're probably going to power wash Lara Croft's mansion at some point, and that is not a euphemism.
Will the butler be locked in the safe? That's what we need to find out.
You'll have to watch to find out. And will I be able to wash him thoroughly? Who knows?
The filthy bastard.
Just tell me when you're going to be playing this. I need to see this.
I think Goodwill will be back Far Cry trying on Tuesday.
Yes.
Awesome.
What about you, Sonia?
Sonia?
Have you got any plans, or are you got any like Twitch streams set out, or do you just go on when you're bored?
No, I stream every Friday at 9:00. I play indie horror games that are usually really terrible and amazing as a result of how terrible they are.
I was going to say, I bet they're absolutely fantastic.
Literally, it's for me, it's the foreign ones that have been like dubbed, but really poorly. It's my favorite niche. Is just like sentences that make no sense and have been said very, very funnily. It's my favorite. There was one a couple of weeks ago when he literally just said, the guy, 30 minutes of waiting, fucking. And I think the translation probably would have been like, oh fuck, but no, Russian to English was fucking. So yeah.
Maybe you just spent 30 minutes fucking, but you...
The comma was misplaced on the script.
The guy had stamina. Give him some credit. Yeah, we'd need to start out again to play a game of Phantasmaphobia with everyone again. That was fun last time. Even though we were all like level 3 and Sonia was like expert level, showing us how to play the game properly. If you hold this button, you can use a walkie-talkie. We've got walkie-talkies.
That's how you turn the torch on.
They've updated it massively, and I have not been playing it since the update. So
me neither.
Definitely.
So let's get together. Let's get together.
They put tarot cards and everything in it now.
Oh,
fuck yes! Let's get together and play. Love it.
Slapping at Goodwill makes notes. 30 minutes equals stamina. But definitely. No, Lee's just pointed out we're needing a community day soon. We are hoping to plan as well, not a community gaming day, but a community podcast day where we will just be logging in to the podcast room, shall we say, giving out the details to the group and Discord and say, come on and chat if you've got the balls to do it, and see what happens, basically. So that should be interesting to see which...
Free for all. And
I do not endorse this idea. If anything goes wrong, let it be known.
Paul's got a kicky out button, so we're all right.
There's a mute button and a kick out button.
It's going to be like those radio call-in shows, like when people like
that's such a good idea.
You're on the air.
I'm listening.
First time, long time. You're playing the Scorpions.
But anyway,
oh, brilliant.
So yes, we have got lots of plans, and in a few weeks we have got like a special guest coming on. We've got the people who run or are part of running the social media side of Be More Geek, the stores around Sunderland, Newcastle, Middlesbrough and the Metro Centre, I believe, where they do sell all the nerdy merchandise. So we're going to come on to talk a little about them. I think they do cosplay as well, so we're going to have a good conversation. So that's quite exciting. And again, I know not to harp on, please join Sam's Patreon so you can hear Sam 1 and Sam 2. Well, so you can watch Sam 2's forehead. He needs to learn how to look in the camera.
Sam needs to learn camera positions. But yes, please. I mean, Paul, we are going to... The first episode will be on YouTube tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But if you do want to see episodes before anyone else, please come and sub to the Patreon.
Yes, and you
give Sam a couple of quid. She really needs it.
I really do. Come on, guys. I want to talk about Game of Thrones, and you want to listen to me talk about Game of Thrones. I get very angry.
And you can, I think the Ghost Watch episode's up there as well. So if anyone wants to watch like Sam shit herself, the Craig Charles scaring people.
All the banned episodes end up on Patreon.
That moment is just one of my favorites. It's Jake's reaction actually after I scream. He just like he does a moment.
And if you do like to partake in cosplay as well, not the kinky side, but like say generally like to do it, we are going to be hosting the cosplay competition at Nerdfest on the bank holiday weekend, Easter time in April. So I think it's the bank holiday Monday, if I believe so. I'm right. So we are going to be having our table there. So like I say, we will put a post up soon on in the Nerdy Up North community to sign up for the cosplay. So like I say,
we'll take bribes as well. Just put that out there.
I'm not allowed to be a judge because I will just go for the beautifulest and bustiest ladies. So I'm not going to lie. But yes. That's me
At least
cancelled,
he's
guys.
honest, like.
But yes, so so thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for the chat. You've been on fire today, and like I say, all I can say is thank you. And
and thank you for being patient with me while I was late getting here. I appreciate it.
It's fine. It's fine. She was just busy getting herself prepared, like as the
Literally
diva
turning
she
the
has
compu-
become.
Literally turning my computer on.
That's
Being the Axl Rose of the Nerdy North, showing up half an hour late,
no, she's
Fucking hell,
demanding
Jake.
drinks beforehand.
refusing to be woke up. I was asleep. If you read Axl Rose, you get no songs. But yeah. So same bat time, same bat channel, guys.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye, caramba.